Welcome to the show. Tonight's guest has 3 decades of continuous achievements in music, film, TV, radio, and publishing. Don't go anywhere. We have an amazing show for you tonight.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Sky Alton, and as always, I am always trying to bring you guys amazing people, and I have a very special, amazing person, native to Sacramento, Mr. J. King. How you doing?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to have you here for season 3. So first off, man, I just want to dive into it and talk about music and the start of your music career. Just give me first, how you got into music.
That's an interesting question, and it's according to how you see me getting into music.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I've always loved music, it's always been in my house from a child. In junior high school, I started playing the trumpet, played in a band that played in our garage. But, when I look at how I really got into music, it was really by happenstance.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I got older, I wasn't playing any instruments anymore. I was a dancer, so I popped, bam, bam, bam.
Okay, all right.
All that stuff, And so in high school, that's what I was known for, winning talent shows. I was between Sacramento and Vallejo. My mother and my stepfather lived in Sacramento. My father lived in Vallejo, so I lived between both places. And by the time I was in high school, I did my last few years of high school in Vallejo.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the Air Force, and then went to Anchorage, Alaska. Was in the Air Force for a year, got out in Anchorage, and started dancing again, and then started rapping. So it's around 1983, 82, 83.
Now, why rap?
Because rapping was what was happening, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, Houdini, those were the rappers of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the big guys, and rapping, went with dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And I started promoting concerts in Alaska, brought Confunction to Alaska. Me and Michael Cooper became friends. Okay. And so he produced the first rap thing we ever did.
Now, do you remember your first, just that experience? Because you're in Alaska doing rap. Most people, when they think of rap, they don't picture Alaska, right? Yeah. And so, just tell me a little bit about your experience being a rapper in Alaska.
Well, a lot of people don't know how hip Alaska really is. A lot of the music that is played in the lower 48 comes to Alaska first. So even before California gets it, it'll get to Alaska.
Really?
Yeah, because you have a lot of transplants, a lot of people who come from the East Coast through the military and stuff, and music doesn't break on the West Coast. It breaks in the South and in the Midwest, and then the East Coast and the West Coast get it, but it's those rural communities that break it. So Alaska, we had a record store there called Try Me Records. A young man by the name of Glenn Campbell, God rest his soul, a brother named Glenn Campbell, he owned the store. So all of the rap records, Jam, Pac Jam, and all the different songs, John's on the Crew, they all came there to Alaska. So we were really in the mix there. And there's about 5.2% of the population in Anchorage that's African American. So of the 300,000 people that lived in Anchorage, Alaska, about 16,000 of them were black. So, we had a real vibrant black community there.
I think that's interesting because, like I said, a lot of people didn't know that. I know I didn't know that about Alaska, and as far as like them getting the music before California. Yeah. When we think, especially like rap, right? We think of LA, North Cal has, its own sound. And so just, picturing, rap in Alaska, I'm thinking snow, cold, and you're pop locking.
Well, it's that too, but we're not doing it outside. And I brought Run DMC to
Really?
Alaska. Yeah, when they did It's Like That and Hard Times. So, and Leor Cohen at the time was their road manager. Leor Cohen would eventually be Def Jam with Russell Simmons. Leor Cohen, Russell Simmons, and then Leor went on to become the CEO of Warner Brothers and other. But I know Leor from then.
So, okay, from rap, tell me what your transition was like, because I know eventually you get to
Yeah.
Timex Social Club, right?
So, as a rapper, because I was associated with Michael Cooper, I was associated or affiliated with Confunction. So we had the same management that they had, Kreitzman and Sobel. And we were trying to get a deal, an album deal. Polygram offered us a 12-inch deal. They turned it down. And they said, we want a whole album deal. So we ended up doing an independent record because when they tried to go back to Polygram was like, nope, you didn't want the deal when we gave it to you the first time, so no. So we end up releasing this record called The Battle Beat, which went double wood.
Okay.
Would have been a hit if it would have been good.
Okay. I like that. Double wood.
So, but the Battle Beat record introduced me to Macola Records because that's how the Triangle, which was started by the management team, that's how they did it. And I just didn't like the way they worked. So we did the one record with them, and then I started my own label with Macola and produced the Timex Social Club Rumors record.
Now, how old were you when you started your own record label?
22.
Now, what was your mindset like, at that time? Because, so at 22 years old, right? What compelled you to I'm going to start my own label?
Well, listen, I watched these guys do it. You also had the LA Dream Team, the World Class Wrecking Crew, Egyptian Lover, Rod Neo. They were all doing the same thing. They all, Unknown DJ, Bobby Jimmy and the Critters, they all used Macola. So I wasn't doing anything that's so extraordinary or groundbreaking. I was just following what was already in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah. I think what I did different was a lot of guys release records independently in regions for the majors to either pick them up and they would go from region to region, not looking at the charts. When I released Rumors, I released it nationally in all the regions at the same time because I was crazy, didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't experienced. So it was my naivete and my inexperience that really helped me because I didn't know what I couldn't do, and I was I was never concerned with the impossible parts of it, only what was possible, and I think that that served me well. But it was also dangerous. And that's when you know that there is a God and that there's a vibration and a karma and all those things come together and help you out because for all intents and purposes, nothing should have happened right with that record because I didn't do anything right to make it happen.
Okay, so you release it nationally, Rumors, and it blows up. It gets big. So how do you deal with the success of that, right? And what comes along with the success of that?
Well, first of all, in order for me to make it, I didn't just put it out and it got big. As a matter of fact, the first time when I put it out, it didn't do nothing. It just kind of laid there and languished, and because I didn't have money. And you had to have money in order to, even today, you have to have money to promote a record. And I don't care how good the record is. I don't care who's telling you how good it is. If you don't have the dollars to put behind it, it goes nowhere. And so a guy by the name of Neil Spinelli was introduced to me, and Neil Spinelli loaned me $60,000.
Wow.
And that was the money that broke Rumors. And so while I'm doing that, I don't have a contract with the group because we're all friends. We all are homeboys. No, we're tight. We're gonna. But so while I'm out working this record, they sign a contract with Daniel Records, and so that's why Club Nouveau came, because this was just a one record situation with them. I was working for an album with them, and I thought we were going to be in this thing together, and so they signed this deal, And so now I'm stuck. And so I write Jealousy about them. And I'm not trying to be in a band at that time. I'm just a songwriter and a producer. But when I saw what happened, I said, you know what? We're gonna be in this group. So me, Denzel Foster, Thomas McElroy, who I was writing and producing with, we formed this group. We brought Valerie from Timex Social Club with us because she hadn't recorded a song with them yet. I only did Rumors. Her voice wasn't there yet. We put her in after. And then we found Samuel at the time, who was just out of high school, 19 years old, and we recorded the first Club Nouveau album. We did Jealousy, Situation Number 9, Why You Treat Me So Bad, back to back. And we got, started.
I mean, that you talk about it so casually, but I'm thinking to myself, you guys are still young. You guys are in like your early 20s, and yeah, there may have been some people who laid out the groundwork, but at the same time, there's a lot of like unknown, right? You don't know if this is going to work out, and you guys were just taking chances. And like you said earlier, you were naive and inexperienced, but it was kind of a blessing in a way, because you, like you said, you didn't know what you couldn't do. So you're just like, if you can think of it, you can do it, right? And so with that mindset in mind, you guys were just taking chances, right? And just doing stuff. And I think as an artist, that's an amazing thing, right? To be in that space, to be like, listen, I thought of this, we're gonna try it out and see if it works. Yeah. And blessing, right? Because it sounds like a lot of the things that you did think of and try out did end up working.
Well, they did, and I think because the music business was changing, and I just happened to be changing a music business without even knowing it, because only rappers release records independently, not R&B artists. So I didn't know that. I didn't know what the limitations were. And I think a lot of times what stop us from the greatness that we are is all the limitations that the world heaps on us. You say, hey man, I want to be a talk show host. And people say, you can't do that. And so you say, why? And they say, well, because in order to be a talk show host, you have to be in Los Angeles or New York.
You got to go through one of the big networks. You got to go to CBS.
And so you start stacking that stuff on you. But if every time somebody stacks something on you, you say, why can't I do it from Sacramento? What if? And really my whole career is based on what if. I wake up in the morning and I'm what if, and even today as a 62-year-old man, I'm like, what if? And I think when you stop what ifing, when you stop looking at possibilities, when you stop believing in you, because we have a lot of us, we stop believing in us, and you can look at the world and see that people stop believing in themselves. That's why we'll settle. I don't believe in settling. If you live to be 80 years old, you only live in 29,200 days. By the time you take away 8 hours a day for sleeping and 8 hours a day for working, you got 9,733 days for living. And you have to ask yourself, how many of these days did I waste being mad, second guessing myself, not believing in who I am? And I think once you get to that, you wake up the next day and you're alive from that day moving forward. And so every day that I wake up to the possibility. I want to be alive when I'm dying. I want to be alive. I want to be fully functional as I'm exiting this thing, and just like, wow, man, I really had a full life. And I don't know if people know. I believe that everybody can have money. There's so much money in the world that everybody can have some. I believe that everybody has talents that are just so natural to them that it don't feel like talent. So they don't explore it. They don't mine it. They don't bring it out and do something with it. So instead of just doing one thing, you do 5 things, and you do them because you love them, and then you don't live like Groundhog's Day. where every day is the same. You know, so I don't have Groundhog's Day. My days are always different. That's what I enjoy most.
You brought up some amazing points, and we're gonna continue to touch on them. But before that, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Elise Hollywood Evans, your forever joy girl, and you are tuned into Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Welcome back to the show. I am still here with the amazing Jay King. Now, before we went to the break, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about like talent, right? And how you believe everyone has natural talent that doesn't feel like talent. And I resonate with that so much because that's how I've always felt about talking to people and having conversations. But there's something that I kind of want to go back to and touch on is with the Rumors record, you know, being such a big hit, selling 3.5 million copies. Yeah. A lot of people think when you do something like that, that your life instantly changes, right? And would you say that was true for your experience, or is it different from what people believe, right? Because nowadays, if you hear, like, TikTok and social media is very big, and sometimes we see someone go viral, right? And we automatically think, oh, this person is big now. They must have a lot of money. They must be, you know, big time because they're everywhere. And that's not always the case. And so just speak to me a little about your experience. You know, could you not go anywhere anymore because now you're just big national star, or was it subtle?
You make that. You make it what it is. So you can make yourself approachable, unapproachable. I remember one time I was on the phone, and everything is happening. I've already done Rumors, now Situation Number 9, Jealousy have been released. Lean on Me is going up the charts, and I go to my mom's house. I'm on the phone. And I'm talking, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm that, and I'm this. And my mom said, "If you don't get off the phone, don't nobody want to hear all that S." And she literally cussed me out. Then she said, "If what you do make you who you are, then you ain't." And so as a 26-year-old young person, hearing that from your mother, so I grasped hold of it, and I knew that I had to get a hold of myself, because whether you get the money or not in the beginning, what does happen is people look at you different. Because people talk about you differently, because now you're successful. And so I remember people used to say I was a genius. I read it several times in Billboard magazine, you know, and Jay King's a genius. And I would say, no, I'm not. And then I'm in New York at the New Music Seminar, and this guy, I'm saying how anybody can be successful independently, and this guy said, "Jay King, you make it sound so easy, but it's not." And I've been trying to do this for a long time, and I said, "You know what you're talking about? I'm a genius."
So you start.
So you start believing.
You start believing. And
you have to. So if there's anything that changes, it's that thing that you got to, you got to get yourself in order, and know that these types of things are going to happen. This is what's going to be said. You got to keep your feet on your ground. That's what I love about my mom and dad. They never let my feet get off the ground, even when I was trying to. They slap you right back down. And I've seen people get eaten up by this business because it is I tell people the music business is a woman that everybody's in love with, and she loves everybody when they have a hit record. And when you don't have a hit record, she don't pick up the phone for you. She don't want to take you on a date. She don't. When she see you, she act like she don't know who you are. But when you get another hit record, she'll call you and be like, "You know, I've been thinking about you," because she cold like that. And so you have to really understand what it is that you're in, what it is that you're doing. Otherwise, it eats you up, and you've seen it. You've seen some of the greats get eaten up by this business, because this business is the public saying thumbs up or thumbs down. And when they give you the thumbs down, if you're not ready for it, It will kill you. So when you ask the question, does everything happen? Does it change overnight? A lot of things change overnight. A lot of things don't. If you're fortunate, the money will travel with it. Most often it won't. For me, the one thing that did happen with the money was that once they left me, then the record company that they signed to sued me for my record.
Wow.
It was my record. They couldn't take it from me because I paid for it.
Right.
I owned it, but I didn't have a contract with them. And so and I don't think the Timex Social Club did it on purpose, but I think that because of what they'd done, they didn't feel good about it anyway, so they were trying to distance themselves from me. And so we never did resolve it. I ended up with my version of the record. They cut another version of the record. You never heard it because it was doo-doo on a stick. There's an inferior version of Rumors out there that they made, but it didn't sound like mine. And I didn't make the kind of money that I should have made from it.
Right.
But what it did was it propelled me to another level. So when I did Jealousy and I did my deal with Warner Brothers, I could say, what if? What if I sell this many records?
So you
and I
learned
have
a lot
this?
from that.
Absolutely.
Man, it was a
Absolutely.
great experience because now you understand business better.
Understand business better, understand the cutthroat world that business is. And I don't care what business it is. You can be in the doggy treat business. It's a cutthroat business. You can be in the, making people happy business. It's a cutthroat business. The business of it is. And the way that you avoid all the cutthroat parts is you do business with vibrations that feel like you. And the ones that don't, you don't worry about it. So I have a good life. I live in a wonderful world because the world I live in is the world I make. It ain't the world that's being presented to me. I don't watch the news every day. Why would I watch anything so depressing and lifeless? I don't hang out with people that are destroying themselves. I'm a non-drinker, non-smoker, non-drugger, non-clubber, heterosexual male, in a business that don't promote any of those ideas. So, I don't have a lot in common with folk like that.
Man, it's crazy because you say non-drinker, non-smoker, and it's almost at a time in your career too when you're young and you have a hit record and you're constantly on Billboard. Did you ever feel like, how did you stay true to yourself? Now I know your parents kept you humble, and when you mention that, I think to myself like not having someone to keep you grounded is a downfall of a lot of artists, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have anyone to tell you no, right, you start to feel like you can do whatever, because sometimes the people around you, as long as you're making money for them, they don't care what happens to you. We've seen that a lot, like with Tyson, right? Like I always thought, like Tyson's story is an interesting story because to be like in your 20s and be world champion is crazy, but insane. But at the same time, if you have no one around you to tell you no, you can't do that, or no, that's not okay, you're just gonna do whatever. And we've seen a downfall of people like that. Right?
But Cuz D'Amato was his guy. So when Cuz D'Amato dies,
Right.
Bill Caton is there. Bill Caton is just a white guy who does business, who is the reason why Mike Tyson is the richest boxer in the world. And this is where race come in. And so when black people go to, they want to get that money. And that's what happened with Mike Tyson. It was a black man that was the downfall of Mike Tyson. Don King was the downfall of Mike Tyson. Don King was the guy who told him, why you got the white boy doing this, and Bill Caton really was the foundation of Mike Tyson's success financially. So, I fell into that game before too, where, they played you're the talent, so they play the race card with you. But I grew up beyond that. I love the Mike Tyson I see today because I think Mike Tyson grew up beyond that. And I'm just happy that he was able to land on his feet. And people know Mike Tyson was always a good person.
Exactly.
I just remember being at a Soul Train Award with him one time, and we just had some fun. He was just a good guy.
Right.
So I love to see that he made it through. It is a cutthroat business, and there's people out there that are preying on you as a talent person to get a hold of you. And then as a talent becomes very selfish and egocentric and narcissistic in its own right. So these are the things that you have to navigate. The things that you have to manage in yourself, or you become self-destructive.
Very well said. Now, talk to me about your management, and also I want to touch on you being California Black Chamber of Commerce. Talk to me about your work with that too.
So, the California Black Chamber of Commerce owns 97.5 FM KDEE, the foundation. I live in Los Angeles, but I'm here in Sacramento. I'm from Sacramento. So I would fly back and forth when Alan Warren was running for city council. And Alan Warren is the reason why I came back to Sacramento, because once he won, he needed support from the community. And Derek D.O.A. Allen, who I write and produce with and who has done everybody, he said, man, Jay, we have a black radio station that don't play local artists. How is that? So I called Alan Warren. Alan Warren says, call Aubrey Stone. Aubrey Stone owns the radio station. So me and Aubrey Stone, we meet. He's the president of the California Black Chamber at the time. Okay. And so we talk, and I say, I'll come and raise money for you for the station, because he said the station wasn't making enough money. And it was not nonprofit. So I said, I'll come raise money for you, but I want to do a show where I play local artists, and along with, the hits, as long as it's in the genre.
Right.
And so we work it out, and then I'm there for about 3.5 years, and then Aubrey Stone passes. Okay. He had cancer, so he passes in 2018, I want to say November 2018. And so June of 2019, they asked me to be the president of the chamber, because of the work that I did in the community, I think, and because we really have built up the radio station in those 3 years from this little bitty thing to a real voice that the community was tied to. And so it was a steep learning curve, because I sit on a small business council for the high-speed rail, for Caltrans, and for DGS. And there's a lot of legislation and stuff you have to know about. And it was a totally different thing from what I grew up in. However, there were transferable skills.
Right.
So contracts, I know contracts because I read them in the music business. Negotiations. I have to negotiate fees and deals, so I'm there. Communication. It's about communication for me. And that's what the music business was. So everything that was there, I was able to transfer it.
Well, I want to thank you again, Mr. J. King, for coming on the show, man. You have a lifetime of experience, and like the gems you've given, me and the audience today. I'm hoping, and I know someone out there is going to be able to take this, hear what you're saying, and apply it to their life. And I want to thank you for continuing to do the work that you do. For someone like myself, you, in your own way, were a pioneer for people like me to be able to do what I do now and, start their own thing. Because we hear stories like this, and, it just motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing and keep, pushing. So thank you again for coming on the show. I want to thank the audience out there for tuning in, as always. And you can always check out the show every first and third Wednesday of the month. And we'll see you guys next time.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing.